print. It's a reductive linoleum block. And I want to thank you for joining me if you're watching the replay. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. And I'll turn on the notifications so you know when we're doing these live streams and when other YouTube videos come out. So currently, here we are. This is the stage we're at with the print. We're slowly working from the background, the sky colors, and we're slowly working towards the foreground. And today is just going to be a really simple impression. There's going to be a little bit of yellow down here and a little over here. And now this is going to be just a base tone for this little section here. So this yellow is going to go down here. So from this line forward. What's up, Pam? Happy Friday. Let me turn on my... Here we go, so I can get the comments. Excuse me for 1 second. There we go. Why can't I see the comments? Hold on 1 second. Having some technical difficulties here. Come on. I don't know why. Here we go. All right. Sorry, I wasn't signed into YouTube. So now I can see the comments. All right, so we're back. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm doing a base tone here today, just this little bit of piece here and over here, just this little triangle. It's going to be a yellow-green color, and it's just a base tone. There's going to be about three impressions just in these two little pieces, and then we'll take those areas away, and then we're going to focus on this major piece here. So this is really, you're not going to see a lot of this yellow. There'll just be little bits of tree masses that are in here, but it's a yellow base tone, so it's not too complicated today. Pretty simple, but it's kind of crucial for the next couple layers. And I have some pieces, some examples here. After I'm done rolling out my ink and doing the impression, I always take these scraps of washi and I roll out the color and the pigment on these pieces of washi. And later I use them for collages and some experimental stuff. But I really like the textures and the colors that I get with the roller. Kind of just experiment a little bit. Some really beautiful textures. So I have a whole collection of colors to work from. So I just wanted to show you those. And let's get started. Today's Friday. It's a beautiful day in New York City. It's nice and cool, sunny. And I was up at this area yesterday in the Gunks. I did not get to this location specifically because I ran out of time. I couldn't bike up there fast enough before my partner came. My partner came after work and we actually did some rock climbing yesterday. But I did visit one area in particular. It's called the Coxing Trailhead. And there's a really cool waterfall there called Split Rock. And I'm going to post a little video, probably a couple shorts or reels on Instagram and YouTube, and then I'll put together a longer edit, which will maybe be like a 5 or 6 minute video of just the nature, the waterfall area, and some artistic little shots I got yesterday, so I could share that with you guys at least. I know I said I wanted to do a live stream up there, but I had no cell service to where I was. I had 0 bars, so it's that was not able to happen, unfortunately. So I'm just rolling this ink in the areas that I want. And let's get started here. So this first print, it's a lot darker than the rest of the batch because I had to change the colors. So this is like a test sheet. I also have this color sheet that I've been keeping track of all my colors so far, so we could start there just to see what this color is going to look like. And that's just going to kind of heighten the tone a little bit. It's going to bring it forward a little bit. So this first sheet is becoming my test sheet. And because these are such small areas of ink on the block, I got to really make sure that the paper doesn't move. So I'll keep my thumbs down on it while I bring it over to the press. We'll run it through one time. Let's see what we have. You can see that it's a nice little yellow tone. And like I said, we're going to be building darker colors, darker greens on top of this yellow. So this yellow is only going to show through in a couple little spots. I'll be using the Dremel tool to make some shapes of trees masses. And so this is just a base tone for just those two tiny little areas. But I think it's crucial because it's kind of the middle ground and it's kind of separating the distance from this large mass that's in the foreground. So I really want to kind of start adding in some more warmer fall colors. So it's hard to see now, but this is, you can see how it's stepping it up. It's heightening it by like one value and with more saturation or more chroma. So we're getting closer to the viewer and the more intense colors are going to start to come through. So it looks crazy right now. You got this like bar of purple and you don't really see it. So you have to just kind of see ahead a few steps. Or in this case, see ahead 12 more steps to get the idea of what this thing is going to look like. Yeah, I could put the camera on the press for one impression. That's no problem. So I'm just going to I'll move the camera after I roll out this next one. So I'm happy with this color. I'm going to move forward and just keep rolling. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to be transferring an image on another print that I'm going to be starting. I'll show you real quick. This was that tree design that I'm working on, or I need to work on. I'll get an example here. It's this design here. I need to really start working on this. I've decided I'm not going to do it Mocha-Hanga. I'm going to do it with oil-based pigments. So it's going to be like a colored woodcut. And I need this exact shape, this shape, which is the green, which is this green grass area. I want this exact same shape because I want two layers. One is going to be a background, like a base tone. This is going to be a light gradient of like warmer greens and yellows fading into blue and cool in the distance. And then I'm going to cut the block at probably this line. And I want exactly the same shape. And then I'll cut just that shape at the top off. So I'm going to roll on ink onto this. And then I'm going to lay down just a piece of copy paper and really put a lot of ink on it. I'm going to take that sheet off. The ink will be wet on the paper. And on the back here, I transfer down a little piece of the area that I'm going to use to cut. But I'm going to put this into put that wet paper or that wet oil on the paper, put it into the Kento, and I'm going to transfer that image. I'm going to rub it with the back of the Baron, peel off the paper, and hopefully I have an oil shape that is exactly the same as this. So rather than using Mokuhanga washi paper, I'm going to just be using the oil and a piece of copy paper, and hopefully that transfers properly. So if you stick around to the end, I'll be doing that. But for now, we gotta use this ink and continue with what we're doing here first. So I can go through this pretty quick. After this impression, I will put the camera on the press for the impression. Actually, I'll do it right now. So I always use the Baron to just kind of flatten the paper, get that paper pressed into the wet oil so the paper doesn't move. Let me move the camera for you. Let's see here. Can raise it up. Oop. It's a mess. Everything's a mess around here. So here's the press. You can see it a little bit. Just adjust. So this is the wheel. As it rolls through, this raises and lowers the press. So I've had that set the same height for this whole project, and just rolls through like that. These are my cover sheets. This is a piece of pusher paper, wool or felt. This is just a piece of cardstock, or they call it a chipboard, that I put over the print. So it's really simple. I just bring the print over, and I have a margin of the linoleum that I leave around the whole image, so that this is pressing and equally putting pressure and not jamming or not pressing on the actual lightly carved area. So it makes it nice and flat. And when I put the block in, I always put it on an angle so that it starts at like a corner, and that seems to get it rolling easier. I just cover it with those two things, put it through once, and this time I'll just go back so you can see. That's twice. I usually just go through once, and then we just lift up the image. And there you have it. Simple, super effective. And these colors are really starting to come through, starting to glow a little bit. And I'm starting to really get excited about this print. So let's not try to ruin it. And let's try to make sure we're doing the right things here. All right, I'm going to take you back over to here, because it's easier. There we have it. Good. Back. All right. So I can just go through these pretty quick. Just a really tiny area, really. There's no need to go so far up. Yeah, Pam mentioned that my father built that press for me. He's a very talented woodworker, a furniture builder, and he bought some metal machinery tools to cut the stock, and he designed and made this press for me. And it's made my life a lot easier, and it's opened up a lot of opportunities for me to do work like this. So he could see that I could use a press. need to get a little bit more ink on this one, I think. So I'm just gonna lightly apply ink on this area, just a little here. I'm just gonna do this one again because I want it a little bit darker. So we just put it right back in the registration. And this registration never moves, it's always the same. I always lay down the paper exactly the same way. So everything always lines up. So I could just keep doing impression and over impression. It's always lined up perfectly. And yeah, that just kind of darkened the saturation a little bit. Yeah, it's starting to come together. I'm liking these colors. This paper is really thin and transparent. You can see through this paper. This is a Japanese paper, Awagami Kozo Select. Highly recommend this paper. I'm not sponsored. Just sharing with you materials that I use. So I get a little more ink on this brayer because it was getting a little thin. And as you go along, you always check the impressions and you make judgments and make small corrections as you go along. And that's just the nature of printmaking. So this is a simple task today. And I reused some of my ink from the last impression, which was like a blue-green. All I did was take the blue-green, I still have some here. Still had a wet pile of the blue-green. I put it onto this palette and I just added some yellow ochre and white. And so this is how I mixed the color for today. This was when I was cleaning my roller last time, this was the color I used, and now I'm using that color as a base to see what I want to do next. And this is the yellow we're using today, or green. I really need to get started on that tree print. That cliffside tree print. Because I have less than a month to get it completed. So I'll be probably working on both these at the same time. I still need a little more ink on this, I think. I'm going to run this one again as well, especially on this one. I didn't really add any transparent base to this color, but there was still some mixed in that green color. Let's see here. Yeah, it would be cool if I had two cameras set up, one on this table, one on the press. You could see the whole process. I'm just using my iPhone for all of my videos, all these live streams, just using the iPhone. To apply a little bit more ink on this. Got a stack of 20 sheets here. So this is a limited edition print. And sign up for my newsletter because it's on my website. Because I'll be putting this print in all my prints in the future and offering them to people that are subscribed to my newsletter. I'll be offering them to them first at a reduced price for 48 hours before I announce it to the public. So we'll do like 15% off or something like that. Give you guys a little bit of a deal, let you get the first choice of the prints if you're interested. Pam mentioned she signed up for my newsletter a while back, and she never got a reply, like an email reply back. So if anyone has signed up for my newsletter recently, let me know if you got a reply email saying thank you for signing up and welcome. It's like a welcome email. I've had a couple people test it out for me, and they did receive the email. I think there's an image of one of my woodblock prints, and it just says welcome to, you know, thank you for subscribing to my newsletter, blah, blah, blah. So if anyone has signed up for my newsletter, or if anyone can go to my newsletter, go to my website and sign up for my newsletter right now, see if the email comes in. I don't know how long it takes for it to come in, but I'm getting ready to make my first newsletter post, send out my first newsletter post, which is the poster and the invite to my exhibition, which is starting November 3rd. The opening is November 8th. It's at the Gunks, at the Visitor Center Art Gallery. And the show will be up for 1 month, the whole month of November. And I've been designing the poster. It's a print that I made here on YouTube, live, step by step. A lot of you have been following along. It's of the climber. I can show that to you. That I do have here, I think. Let's see. Where is that print? Oh, I guess it's up here. Or do I have one available that's out here? I'm not sure. It's loud in New York City today. It's got helicopters flying by. Here's the print. Here it is. So this is the image I'm using for the poster. And I did a lot of these impressions on the live streams. So this is the finished print. This print has already been in an exhibition in Connecticut. I'm a member of SAGA. It's the Society of American Graphic Artists. And they have a members only exhibition once a year. And I submitted this print this year. So this is hanging already in a gallery. It's at the Housatonic Museum, which the Housatonic Museum is. It's a community college in Connecticut. Hold on. Let's see. So it's a community college in Connecticut. This is the catalog. Housatonic Museum of Art. It's a nice gallery. It's a beautiful catalog that they published. And you can see this is SAGA's turning 110 years this year. So this was a nice. I'm a little upset though because when I sent in my image. Oh, and if anyone's printmaker out there, there's a really cool exhibition. They extended the deadline. But if you want, you can scan that. This is a really cool exhibition that you can get into. It's called Mini Gems, and you have to have an image that's about, I think it's 4 by 4 or 5 by 5 square. It has to be within those constraints. And this is a really exciting exhibition that's in New York City. It's a good way to get your prints out there. So it says October 3rd is the deadline, but they extended it. I think they extended it to the 10th for like 1 week. So if anyone's interested and has time to make a small print, you could submit your work. But yeah, I was a little upset because the image that I sent in, there was something wrong with the file, and it's like a little purple color. It's super dark. It looks nothing like the original print, so I was a little upset about that. I wish they would have contacted me. But here, this is I got an award for that print. I haven't even opened it up. Oh wow! Look at this. This is the award. I haven't even opened this. I received this. I went to the opening, and I received this award. And I just thought it was like a little certificate. What do we have here? Jeez, this is amazing. Look at this. How beautiful is this? It's stamped. The Old Print Shop Excellence of Printmaking Award. Wow. You may extend your gratitude by messaging Robert Newman at theprintshop.net. The museum's in Bridgeport, Connecticut, so if anyone's out that way, you can go see the exhibition. I believe it's still up. But wow, what a beautiful certificate. But more so, man, I got to check. I didn't even know there was an award. Not bad. That's a decent amount of money. All right. Wow, I should have opened this up, I guess. So, wow, that's pretty cool. All right, so where we're at, let's make another print. Did I put the ink on this one yet? I don't know. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there. But anyways, back to, I'm using that image as a poster for my solo exhibition. And I'll be emailing that to people, posting it on Instagram. I'll be making a marketing little reel on YouTube, some shorts or reels for Instagram. So you'll probably be seeing a lot of those in the next couple weeks. So I apologize if it's monotonous for you, but it's what you have to do to get it out there. And today I was like, oh, I'm not going to do a live stream because this is just a simple little impression. It's not very exciting. But then I was like, you know, why not? Documenting the process. Just another stage. It's interesting when you see it live, I guess. And I also was like, what can I do to make it a little bit more interesting for the viewers today? And I was like, well, we can do that transfer. So I've never transferred an image with oil like that, like the way I'm about to do here. Well, in a few minutes. But how much time we have? We're at 30 minutes here. So I think we'd take about 10 more minutes to get through these if I stop talking. And we'll do that transfer. So I'm just thinking of ways to like show you guys new stuff. But also I'll be doing that for the first time, so it's kind of experimental. It might not work very well. So I'm guessing I'm going to have to load up the block really well with ink. Because that is Sheena plywood, and it has some grain to it, some open grain. But I don't want to put so much ink on it that the paper slides around or moves. But I need enough ink on that paper so that when I put the paper down, it'll transfer to the next clean block. Yeah, that's looking good. Maybe I'll roll some ink on it right now. Just let it let it kind of soak in. I'm just going to use the ink that I have here. So I could just test. I'm just going to test the color of this ink on the wood. Just put a little here. See, that's dark enough. That's plenty dark enough. So let's just do that real quick. So I wiped that off. You can see how it absorbs into the wood. So I'm going to just roll on some ink here. Move this for a second. I'm going to roll some ink onto this shape just so that the ink will soak into the wood as I'm working. And I know some artists that do this exclusively. They'll take their they'll carve their key block. Even for Mokuhanga, they'll carve their key block. They will ink it with oil, black oil pigment like this, and then they'll transfer that to all the blocks. And they use like vellum, like a plasticky, or mylar, kind of like a plastic material, I think, so that the ink doesn't absorb in. It just kind of sits on the surface, and then when they lay that down and press it to the wood, that ink comes off the mylar or vellum. I'm not sure exactly what they're using. I'm just going to use copy paper today. I think that'll work fine. This is a pretty simple shape. I don't need to, there's not tons of detail. And the way I didn't really design this print very well for Mokuhanga. The overlapping colors and shapes they're just not going to work the way I want them to. So it was a learning lesson, and I really just developed the print and all these blocks from a sketch that was in my sketchbook, a marker sketch. And I made the key block from that, and then I transferred the key block, and I kind of just made up these shapes. And I don't work that way. I usually figure everything out first in Photoshop. So this is pretty well covered. So I'm going to set this aside and just let that ink soak in while we continue working over here. But yeah, I don't usually work that way, and I just didn't think it through well enough. So I think it'll be better, and I'll have more control with the oil, and I can do some more gradients and some overlaying, some overprinting, and I can get a really nice print from using the oil-based pigments for this one. So yeah, we need this background shape. So I'm transferring this green shape today. So let's continue with what we're doing here. Maybe in after a couple more impressions, I'll ink that up again. I'll just do the transfer and people can head out. Yeah, I've never won an award for printmaking, for art. So I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna have to reach out to whoever sponsored that award and introduce myself. So there's the meditation bell, just becoming. I'd like this to be a little darker still. I'm just going to do this one quick again. It's a little too thin. But the wheel on my press here makes a beautiful meditation bell. I like that. It's a reminder to be present in the moment. Man, we were up there climbing yesterday. The weather was beautiful. It was like mid 60s. We were there in the afternoon, so the cliff was in shade. And when the cliff is in the shade and the temperatures are in the 60s, the friction of the rock is really good. So your shoes, your climbing shoes, the rubber, it just sticks to the wall really well, and your hands, just the rock feels more grippy, and your hands just feel better on smaller holds. And we did some really good climbs yesterday. We only did, I think, 4 pitches, but, well, 3, 4. We did 5 pitches in about 4 hours. But I actually did some lead climbing yesterday, and it was a 5.9. So rock climbs are rated, and this was a 5.9 route, and it was called Roseland. And I've led it many years back, like before COVID. So maybe like 5 years ago I led it once. And I remember it was difficult. And now this is traditional rock climbing or trad climbing, where as you're climbing up, you're putting gear into the wall. You're putting camming devices and nuts into the cracks. And as you go up, you keep placing gear and you're clipping the rope into it. So if you fall, you're falling on a piece of gear that you put in the wall. And then after I climb, my partner, who's connected to the other end of the rope, climbs up and he takes the gear out of the wall. So that's what we were doing yesterday. But I did that, I led that 5.9 route, and I did really well. I was really proud of myself. So it's hard to trust the gear, and it's scary because you have to climb above it. And if you take a fall, sometimes you can fall, quite a distance. And there's always risk involved. But it's exhilarating, and it's a great confidence builder. It's a great practice for your mind over body. And talking about being in the moment, you can't be thinking about, when you're climbing, you are not thinking about anything else except staying alive and making the right moves. And it's one of the most mindful practices that I have in my life. So rock climbing is a special sport for me. You can be stressed out about work or family or your finances or politics, and as soon as you get on the rock and you start climbing, that all just melts away. So that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. Plus, it's just physically demanding and mentally demanding. So it's a great exercise for your mind and body and your soul. Scott P, number 2. Hi, always learn new things when I watch your videos. Thanks. No problem, Scott. I really enjoy sharing this with people. I got a nice email from someone, bought a couple prints for me from my website yesterday, or last week she bought some prints, but I received an email from her yesterday, and it was just a really thoughtful, 3-paragraph email. She bought 3 prints for me, And it was just so nice to hear her feedback and what my prints meant to her. And like those little things just make me want to keep going. Because it's pretty lonely sitting in the studio doing work like this day in and day out. Not being connected to people. It's just a very I need more ink on this one. I keep getting it's too thin. So I just need a little bit more. I need to keep dipping the roller into the ink more. I'm just going to reapply real quick. But yeah, it gets lonely being an artist, being a printmaker. You're constantly just working on your own. So it's nice to have this as a community. I feel like I'm in the room with, even if it's only 6 people. I know other people are watching the videos. I'm getting about 100, after a week or so, I get about 100 to 150 people watching the replays. I know they're not watching the whole replay, but so we have starting to grow a small community around these live streams. Hopefully the word gets out there and more people start to join in. But I'd really like to start seeing other people's work. So I need to find a way to have an online community where people can share their own work. And I'm thinking I'm going to do a Patreon page where I'm just going to have a free membership where people can post images and people can post their work. They can post questions to it. The community can get involved together. And then I'll also have a page, a subscription for prints where I'll have, if you want to receive 1 print every 6 months, you can pay whatever, $10 a month or whatever, and then I'll do a couple tiers. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. Probably starting in November, I'll launch something like that. Because I really want to start building a following around this. And I don't want to limit it to just printmaking. Obviously, printmaking is the main idea, or the main medium. But it's also going to be different kinds of printmaking. I also want to just open it up to any kind of art making. And that's a better application, I think. All right, let's do this transfer and see how that goes. So we're going to pull back. Yeah, I could see that ink is just soaking into the wood. I could see the sheen. You can see it's soaking into the wood a little bit here. And I think I'll use a ball bearing Baron. It's hard to say fast. Ball bearing Baron to press the impression into the piece of this wood. So I'm going to use a really thick application of ink here, just slowly building up the surface. Just going in different directions, just working that oil into the grain. And this doesn't have to be a super clean impression. I just need the outline of these shapes, really. I think it'll work. But let's see. Like I said before, I've never done this before. I've done this with water-based pigment. I think that'll be fine. So I have a piece of paper here. So let's take this impression. I have to press hard here. I could run this through the press, but I have a delicate sections here. If I ran this through the press, it would crush these delicate limbs of this tree. I don't have this block set up for the press. So this is gonna be a hand printed. So you could see that shape there. Is that gonna be enough? I don't know. I'm actually going to ink it and do another impression. I don't think that's going to be enough ink to transfer. I just touched it with my finger and it just doesn't seem to be enough. So let's layer this puppy twice. Someone admires my patience. I guess printmaking does build patience. I don't think I'm a patient person, but I guess it does build patience. And so does being a husband, being a father. All these things builds patience. So thank you for your comment. And I'll continue to work on being patient. It's hard to be patient in New York City, especially when you're driving. Really had to work on like driving in New York City. Because there's just crazy drivers out there. People do really crazy things in New York City in the cars and their vehicles. And you can't have road rage. It's not good. So that's something that I have to really be careful with sometimes. Or the noise levels in New York City. Like I live right across the street from a school, and from 3:30 to 5 o'clock every day it's just honking. I live on a one-way street. And there's buses, they block the street, people are honking, it's just constant noise. So I've had to find ways to not let that cause stress for me, and so I just put on noise canceling headphones. That's what I do. So I'm gonna flip this block over. Let's peel this off. Yeah, that's more ink there. I could feel it, hear it. It's really thick. So I'm gonna flip this block over. I don't want this ink to get onto my mat, so I'm just gonna put a piece of scrap paper underneath it. Boom. And now let's put this down here. Is that gonna... So let's see. I'm just thinking, no, this should be good. Sorry, I'm confusing myself here. This paper just makes... So make sure it's super lined up in the Kento. Now let's burnish this down. With the Baron. Make sure the paper's not sliding around. So I'm kind of holding it down with my hands while I do this. So I could peel this up, see what it's doing. Check it out. Beautiful. It's lined up. I put this little piece of washi in here. It's transparent enough. It's transparent enough you can see the lines through the washi. So this is a hybrid way of doing transfers. So I'll let that dry And now we have a beautiful transfer image. And you could see this is the key block. This was the line that I used to carve this block. This top line. And you could see that it's perfectly lined up with that transfer. So we know, and you can see the trees, it's lined up with those trees, the trunks of the trees. And that's the information I wanted, is this irregular edge, those little tree limbs. I wanted it exactly the same, because it's gonna be there's gonna be a base layer, and then there's gonna be a textural layer on top. And I'm gonna layer these and do big gradations from dark green to light green, or from green to like a cool distant blue that's lighter in value. So I'm gonna let these dry. I'm gonna clean this block off. I'm not gonna do it on camera, but I'm gonna take some oil and try to clean as much of this ink off as possible. I could let it dry, but I'm just gonna clean it. So yeah, now we're committed to oil for this print. That's exciting. But I need to get moving on this, so this was a good thing to do today. So because I wasn't going to do this live stream, but I thought, hey, I could do this transfer and make it a little bit more interesting for the viewers. So there we go. So now back to our current project. We just keep on going. And I got to open that award that I haven't even looked at. Can't believe I haven't opened that up. I found the check in there, so jeez. So this has been an exciting live stream for me today. Hope it's exciting for you guys. Right. Yeah, I love this paper. I'm definitely going to be buying more of this paper. I have a similar paper that I think I'm going to use for that tree print. I'm going to try that out, I think. I'm trying to use up all the paper that I have. I have stacks of all different kinds of paper in folders under my bed, my bedroom. That's where I store my paper. It's under my bed. But I have stacks of all different kinds of paper, and I need to start using some of it up. Some of it's old. I just need to use it. And then all my Japanese papers, my thinner papers, I keep that rolled. I keep it in a cardboard tube. And I keep that stored over here in this studio that's in the front of my house, or apartment, I should say. Do I like Sheena plywood better than lino? It has a different, for carving wise, I actually prefer carving the linoleum more than Sheena. The Sheena is plywood. So you have that top layer of nice, clean, smooth Sheena that has really no grain to it at all. It's very easy to carve through. But then when you get down deeper in your clearing areas, you're into layers of plywood. And I don't like carving through plywood. So the grain overlaps, so it's in one direction and then it switches direction. So as you're carving down, you're constantly going through these layers of layered plywood. And it's just not a good feeling on the tools and on my hand aesthetically. I know there's glue, there's adhesive in Sheena that you can kind of feel it in your tools. It's like a hard feel, and I prefer cherry wood, American cherry or Japanese cherry. If I'm going to be carving a wood surface, I prefer it to be a hardwood. But Sheena's affordable. You can get larger sheets of it. It prints well. You can't get as many details out of it as you can with cherry or hardwood cherry or Japanese cherry. But it works well, especially for larger shapes and larger flat tones. So it has its ups and downs. It has its pros and cons. And so does the linoleum. I really like carving linoleum. It's a nice feel for me. This is the sheet I got a little smudge on, so I think this was the one that Pam's gonna buy. Actually, Pam, I'll just trade you. I'll trade you this print with the smudge on it for your quilt that you're gonna be making me. That'll be a fair trade, I think. Pam, I'm gonna be sending that to you soon. I'm such a procrastinator when it comes to little things like that. They're just like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it the next day. It's like I just have to sit down, put the thing, I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna do it right after the stream, Pam. I'm gonna sit down, scan that thing, put it into Photoshop, and work on it at some point today. Get that thing in the mail for you early next week. Stop procrastinating. I find procrastination, it just leads to anxiety. If you have something to do, just get it finished. And that's the problem with me as a printmaker or as an artist. I always like to start I mentioned this last stream. I like to start projects, and then midway I'm like, oh, I'm gonna start a new project. And then I have 4 open projects, and that's currently where I am right now. And I just have like anxiety about finishing them all. So I really need to just finish a project and then move on to the next one. I'm kind of liking the way these colors are building up. It's an interesting color scheme. I never would have been able to plan this like ahead of time, where I have these kind of pastel-y warms and cools in the distance and slowly building up with these purples and now these greens and yellows. I couldn't have planned this, I don't think. This is just organically growing. I have no expectations for the overall color schemes. I'm just adapting as we go along and making decisions as I go along. So that's really why I like this reductive printmaking process. So go back to whose question? The plywood or Sheena mat, which one I like better? They both have their pros and cons. I really like carving the linoleum. And now that I'm figuring out the way I like to work with it, I'm gonna start working with it more. I mean, I have a whole roll of linoleum here. So I gotta get going on making some more. I'm gonna start doing 2 blocks maybe, do the same process but with 2 blocks so I can kind of work them together. I can be working the bottom half of the print and the top half of the print at the same time. You know, there's like all these different ways to like start working faster, because really I'm limited by the drying time of these oils. But each material has its own pros and cons. I'm trying to move away from Sheena plywood though. And I'm actually moving away from the Mokahanga. Haha, I made a major mistake here. This is so funny. So if you just noticed, I didn't put the paper down because I'm talking, but I did print it on the cardstock. So now I need a new piece of cardstock because I don't want this to get, so we'll let that dry. And luckily I have another piece right here, I think. Yes. I have another piece here. So that's a mistake. So let's ink this block again. I kind of enjoy making mistakes on these live streams because then you guys get to see that this stuff happens. That's going in the highlight reel for sure. And I noticed a couple times on the past videos, I would just go like this, and then I'd peel up the paper. Because if I'm doing Mokahanga, I usually do barren, and then I peel up. But this one, that's just to set the paper down, and now I gotta take it to the press. But forgetting to put the paper on altogether, that's a first. But it will most likely happen again at some point in time. This one has a smudge in the margin too, so Pam, you let me know which one you prefer. Smudge on the back or smudge in the margin? And the more you guys comment in these live streams, the more this video will be sent to other people's feeds. At least that's what I'm learning. I listen to a YouTube podcast. It's called the YouTube Creators Hub. It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. And the gentleman that hosts it is called Dusty Porter. And he has YouTubers on every week. It's on Friday. So if you can, or if you're interested in YouTube or YouTube creation or creativity, every week they have a new content creator, and it is the most interesting podcast I ever listened to. Every week he has somebody new on. They tell their backstory of how they got started on YouTube. They range from all different niches, from magicians to people that sell sports cards to gamers to people that clean houses, clean cars, people that have lifestyle channels, entertainment channels. This one guy recently, he just focuses on Sudoku puzzles. Every week it's somebody different. But it's so interesting to hear their backstory, how they got started, where they are now. They talk about how much money they're making from YouTube, other ways that they market and monetize their channels. It's a business. And if you're interested in any of that, or if you're interested in growing your business, even if it's not on YouTube, I would highly suggest listening to that podcast. So what's my point? I don't know what my point is. I don't know why I started talking about that. Oh, I was learning about the shorts and the live streams on YouTube. And the more people comment, and the more people that give it a thumbs up or a heart, and the more people that watch the replays, the more it'll start popping up on people's feeds. So I really appreciate the comments, the questions, and I appreciate you guys just being here. And this is such great practice for me to talk about my work, talk talk about the process. It's like education. You know, I want to start teaching people, and this is just such great practice for me to better understand myself and the practice so that I can more easily share it and teach people in the future. Plus, I also feed off of your comments and your questions, and I do as well on my YouTube videos. I reply to every comment, every question. I'm gaining insight on what people are interested in, what people, you know, I get most common question is transfer sheets. How do you transfer your images? Or another common question is, where do you get your wood from? All these questions lead to video ideas. This is really starting to glow, I would say. It's kind of glowing. This color is going to be covered up. 95% of this color that you're seeing here is going to be covered up. But a little bit of it's going to show through, and it's a base tone for the next 2 or 3 layers in these small sections. So this is a little, it's probably, it's not necessary to go with this much depth and this much detail, but I really want this print to look nice. I want it to read almost like an oil painting. Multiple layers. So I'm just thinking about what I can do, what are the possibilities. And this layer, I think it's going to really improve it. So I decided to add this yellow tone today. I could have added the yellow tone to the whole surface because this color is going to work well. But I want to work up this large mass in the foreground all together I'm going to work from darks to lights. So I kind of want to build that up together. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. So we got 2 more sheets, and then we'll say bye for now. Today's Friday. Tomorrow's Saturday. What are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow we have soccer practice. Not me, my son. I don't know when I'm going to do the next live stream. I'm going to try to do one this weekend. I'm going to do it more in the afternoon, early evening, I think. I'm going to really try to find a time to do another live stream this weekend. See if we can get some more people on here, some different people. Because I know a lot of people can't make these live streams because of the timing. But this is just the best time for me. I'm trying to keep it consistent at noon. But maybe we could do a weekend special. And I'm going to start with that other print soon, so probably going to cut paper. It'd be nice to work both of these prints at the same time. Just get them moving along faster. I keep banging the wheel. The printing meditation wheel. So this is the last one. I'm really enjoying this print so far. It's starting to come to life. And it's a very transitional stage of the print where it looks kind of weird, but you also have to remember that all this stuff is going to be covered up. So you're only going to see that much of that section. There's going to be two other colors on top of this yellow, and over here it's going to be just that. So I'm liking that transition from purple to green, blue to yellow. I'm liking these transitions. And then this big shape in the foreground is going to be really, I'm going to start with almost black, dark green, black gradation. Take out all the darks first and then slowly build up to these bright reds and yellows that are going to be in the trees, because this is a fall scene. And then there's going to be some gray colors, maybe 2 or 3 layers of gray that are going to be the rock surface. And then it's all going to be greens and oranges and reds and earth tones to depict all these trees. And I'm going to use a lot of texture. I'm going to use that Dremel tool, really build up some textures and some stippling. So I'm excited about this print, and I'm excited about everything that's going on. So now next time I will use this sheet for my next color to put it on top. So just roll that out. I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm cleaning my roller, but I also have now a color for when I'm mixing the next impression. I also have a little bit of it here. I just put a little chunk there. So these are great ways to keep track of your projects, your colors. And then we did the transfer earlier. You can see how dark this yellow is. Still pretty dark as a value against the white. I mean, that's more than a middle value. That's like a 6 out of 10 maybe. But then in our print, you can see how it really stands out on top of or if it'll be my new print project, which is these blocks here. See, this is a piece of sheen. I have all these different impressions. I'm trying to utilize the block. We got the sky will probably be the first color I do in the print. It'll be a nice gradation, blue to dark blue to a light blue. A nice sunny day, I think, for the first one. And if I'm doing oil on these, I could do multiple versions. I'm thinking about doing a daytime version and then doing a nighttime version and carving a nice little moon in the sky somewhere and having a nice cool purple toned print with like a little bit of a warm silhouette of a moon, maybe some clouds in the sky. I don't know. So I could do multiple versions, but I'm going to let this dry. This won't take long to dry at all. It's already dry to the touch. I'll be able to carve this tomorrow. And then I have one more transfer that I need to do, and it's this shape here in this print. There's a little flat area. It's going to be an orange or reddish tone. It's a matted ground plane, and it has a lot of pine straw on it, so it's like an earthy orange red. And that's just going to be this little triangular shape at the top of this cliff. And I think that red and orange will be a nice color. Make it a little interesting and a nice little warm pop, because everything else is going to be pretty cool. Green, blue, and green, and then the rocks will be gray and black. So yeah, we got a lot of things going on. I appreciate you being here. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time. I'll try to announce it on my Instagram or on my YouTube. So subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't. Find me on Instagram. Email me with any questions or comments. Really appreciate it. Take care for now. Bye-bye.